Welcome to SharpenTheHustle.com podcast with Jesse Miller. We're working hard as a given, but results are how we measure success. We interview successful business owners that'll help you sharpen your hustle.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to SharpenTheHustle.com. I'm here with Jeff J. Hunter. He is the underwear entrepreneur, and he is the creator of the 90-10 Life. And I'm excited to have him on today and have him share his story. It's a really cool story. So, Jeff, with that said, man, jump on in. Tell everybody what you do and how you got there.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm in my underwear right now. So there you go. We're going to start this off right because it's called the party up top, or it's the business up top, party down below. It's like the entrepreneurial mullet. See, that's what it's all about.
I mean, if you can't do the mullet, you got to do something else, right?
That's right. You know how that came about is I'm in this group called Screw the 9 to 5, and it's a really fun group to be in. It's a bunch of crazy entrepreneurs, and what I realized was I made a post in there. My sister came over; she was visiting, and she came through this little glass door right here in my office. I have a really big office in my house. I got this glass door, and my sister she took a picture and she sent it and she tagged me on Facebook. And she said, "This is how my brother does work." And I had my suit top on. Okay. So I literally had my sport coat and underwear, right? And she's laughing her butt off. And then I thought it would be cute. So I took her picture and I reposted it in this group of like 40,000 entrepreneurs. And it was my very first experience in a quote unquote viral post. I mean, it had hundreds and hundreds of comments. People were just like, "Oh my God, me too," And then other people started posting pictures of themselves, and I made this hashtag underwear entrepreneur. Hashtag underwear entrepreneurs, I think is what it was. And then people started using it, and then then I got known as the underwear entrepreneur. And I said, you know what? That says a lot about us because as an entrepreneur, we create that freedom in our business. That's what we're trying to achieve, is to have the flexibility to wake up every day, stay in your boxers, come out to your desk, and get a bunch of stuff done. You don't have to be stuck in that cubicle every day.
Man, it's so cool. I love your story. So why don't you talk a little bit about your background and what you do today?
My background. So I've always been in IT pretty much my entire life. And then I got recruited to be a project manager for a global, Fortune 300 company. I wasn't special. Matter of fact, every job I've had, it was way too big of a job for me. I was just, able to really research what I wanted to do. And when I see something, I just go for it, and action taker, I'm an action taker. Now,
it solves a lot.
Well, ironically, I've always kind of like lived up to the job, but then once I get inside it, I really start breaking it down. Like, how could I be the best, and I'm very competitive. I've always been as a child. So I started learning really quickly in project management that project managers actually spent very little time managing projects, that most of their time is spent doing ridiculous things like Gantt charts and putting together meeting minutes and putting together all this communication and stuff that was really dragging away from what we were meant to do, which is manage projects. That's why we're called project managers. So I kind of dabbled into hiring someone to do Gantt charts for me. Gantt charts are horrible. It's where you have all these different tasks that you have to do to finish a project, and then you have to put them all together and put these timelines. And all your clients, they want to see the timeline. They want to see what the critical path is, which is what's the fastest time that we could get this project done, knowing about the work that has to be done. That's called the critical path. And it's just a lot of work. It was like 60-70% of my work was actually not useful. So I hired my first VA to do stuff that I knew was not the most valuable use of my time. Doing Gantt charts, doing my mileage reporting, doing my expenses, everything right? Because we live in this really virtual world where most everything that we do for our businesses outside of a few things can be done virtually, right? Our accounting, we have QuickBooks, right? Or Xero or whatever, right? And our email. I mean, come on, it's email. Of course it's virtual, right? So all these different things. And I just said, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I outsource? What else can I delegate out to? And that's when I started realizing, as a project manager, I had a team in America that would go out and do projects, and we had limited time, limited resources to get these things done. And I got really good at getting them done fast. So I said, this is really applicable to like everything else in life. So I started building my own little team because other people came to me and they said, well, I was recognized as a top 5 project manager in the nation after 12 months. And they said, wow, this is incredible. How can we apply this to our business as a whole? And then when I told them, they were just like, no, not going to happen. I realized that I had a unique talent in building teams and delegating things out, and that not everybody was trained mentally, at least, to do that. So
that's a great segue. Can we jump into that a little bit more? I mean, what are the thought processes that keep entrepreneurs from outsourcing or delegating or releasing some of the responsibility of the actions?
You know what? I think the reason why there's inaction is because when people don't know what to do, they just rather not do it than mess up.
Yeah.
And it causes paralysis, because they don't know how to do it. And for me personally, I found like one of the things that I would totally offer this to your people watching here. I have a guide that I put together. It's the 17 most common things that people outsource to a virtual assistant. Everyone should outsource these things.
Yeah.
Because most people say, I don't even know what to outsource. Like how, right?
Right.
And so I'll send you a link to share with people, guys. It's called the 17 things that you can outsource to a VA. And actually, I have it printed out here. But honestly, anyone can do this, guys. It doesn't matter how much money you make or what your business is doing. These are all really accessible things that you guys can do. And I guess I don't have them. In order or anything. But these are all things that you guys can download, because I want you guys. And I don't want to talk down on anybody, but most people think that they can't do it. They're like, I don't know how to do it. And it's just so simple. And there's people here in America, there's people all around the world that are totally skilled to do what you need them to do. They're not going to cost you an arm and a leg. And I use something that I call the cost neutral hiring method. So everyone that I hire, they're actually going to make me money. Let's think about this for a second. In 30 days, everything that they're going to do for me is going to make me more money than I pay them. So let me ask you a question. How many people would you hire for $1,000 if they could make you $2,000?
That's it's an amazingly simple answer. As many as you can throw cash at.
Exactly. Right? So then someone asked me, well, I don't even know what to pay a virtual assistant, right? So that's why I made this. I said, okay, well, how about if I just made a virtual assistant salary guide for you? And then here's all the rates that you need to know on the different things that there are out there. And because I want to make it like my purpose in life. So segue back to that is, once I realized that I had a unique ability to find people, train people to do things I didn't want to do or that were below my pay grade, and I have 57 people. I have 57 virtual assistants on my own personal team. People are like, what? How do you, why? And I'm like, I have a lot of things to do for me and my clients that make me money. I wouldn't hire these people if they weren't making me money. And, I don't even want to get into the money aspect of it, but let's just be honest. That's where it's at. We're in business to make money. So a virtual assistant frees you up from doing things that you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't be your own secretary in your business. And the one thing that you see from a successful business owner to a unsuccessful business owner, and let's be honest, I wasn't always successful either, is that they are focused on the more important things. You don't see Elon Musk or you don't see Warren Buffett or these, Bill Gates out there, doing emails. I guarantee you they're not doing their own emails. They're not doing their own research. They're not doing tons of things. They have assistants that, hey, I want to figure this out. I want to do this. I want to do that. And we get to make the bigger executive decisions. You can't expect to be paid as an executive if you're working as a secretary. See?
It's true. It's so true, man.
That's what it's all about. That's what the 90-10 life is. The 90-10 life is about focusing your life on that 10% that really is the most valuable, and then outsourcing and delegating that other 90% away. That's what the 90-10 life really means. And it's a super easy concept. And I would challenge all of you guys to really look at your day and figure out how much of it is spent doing really valuable tasks compared to not so valuable tasks.
Man, very, very cool stuff. So let's talk about the functions of your business today. What products and services do you offer, and who do you offer those to?
Whew. So I have two main, I guess, products. So my own company, the VA Staffer business, it's a virtual assistant company, and 7 or so team members on there. Now, I actually stopped accepting clients there, except, I have most of my clients are, 7-8 figure influencers. But it's gotten to the point now to where, because those people talk about me all the time and the team, I'm getting like 80 to 100 people that come to me every month like, I want that too. So we don't, I'd love to just hire hundreds of people, but what you'll learn in the 910 Life program, that's my other piece, is that it's much better to hire slow. You want to make sure that someone's going to work out, because you know what? You know what? Another thing that people do that really screws them over? They'll hire someone, they'll get them all trained up, and that person splits. And because they're like, okay, well, now I know lots of great things, so I'm just going to go work for myself. I don't need to be your assistant anymore. Thanks for teaching me all of your trade secrets.
Yeah.
Right? And then you also have the VAs that they don't get trained, or people that hire VAs, but they don't have the plan first. So what happens is they are wasting their time and effort and money training someone to do something that they haven't really got planned out yet. So that causes a lot of frustration on both ends. And what ends up happening is, and tell me if this sounds like you, because I know this was me, is that you start reverting back and saying, well, if that person's not reliable and isn't doing it up to what my standards are, then I might as well just do it myself, And
yeah, I see it all the time, man. I see it all the time.
And most of the reason why people don't hire a VA is because they aren't prepared. They're just not prepared. Their business isn't structured in a way. Yeah. I mean, most businesses I know, especially if they're like entrepreneurs, they're friggin' disarray,
Scatterbrained and all over the place, man.
Shiny object syndrome. And look, yeah. I don't fault the entrepreneur.
Yeah, me either. I've been one. I'm sure you have as well.
Entrepreneurs, they're opportunists, right? That's why they have that shiny object syndrome. They're just like, oh, right?
Yeah.
But a VA, they need to know what they're doing on a day-to-day. And when you, as the leader, don't have the day-to-day worked out, then it causes a problem. And that's why it's really important as and maybe I have a leg up as a project manager in a past life, is that if you structure your day in such a way to where you know what you're doing at specific times, right? Even if you blocked out 4 hours of your day to do nothing, block it out and say, I'm doing nothing at this time. It's so important to use your calendar as a great tool and to ensure that you're focused on things. Like for me, I just made a post last night that, every night I write down a list. I actually have a list right here, like 3 things that I'm going to do the next day, and I just write it down. And the next day I start working on those things, that way I know I'm going to get at least 3 things done.
It's amazing. This stuff is so simple, but it blows by so many entrepreneurs. It's like, well, three's not enough. There needs to be 30 things, and I'm going to try to do them all, and you don't get anything done. Where
Yeah.
if you'll simplify it and pick the strategic ones, lead and guide your business the way that you should, you get a hell of a lot more done, man.
And you know what? I've been the pleasure now, and let me get back to the other product. The other product is my 910 Life program, which is a perfect lead-in because it helps entrepreneurs. Okay, and I hate people that always start out saying, "Well, you know what I do for a living? I help entrepreneurs." That's we already talked about this before. You guys weren't in on this conversation. I wish we would have hit the record button then. when there's a million of these, what we call business coaches or life coaches.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest, they've got their own problems. What are we going to look at that the problem with coaching right now, the industry, is that there's very little integrity left. There are very little people that actually have their own stuff in order, and they want to sit there and tell you. Basically, at that point, they're just taking the reason they're successful is because they're taking your money in the belief that they're going to make you successful. Right.
There's so much of it in the coaching world. I hesitated for literally 18 months to take that classification because of that, man. There's so many flakes, and it drives me nuts because there's incredible value in what we do. I mean, a lot of it's creating space mentally to be able to create projects. And one of the things I see is that, business owner tries to implement some structure, but they're not committed to it. And the structure just dissipates because there's no emotional driver that's pulling them into it that helps them understand it and helps them utilize it at the best of its ability. So it just becomes work to them, and so they chase an opportunity instead of doing the work. And so
absolutely
that's
right. Yep. And that's the thing, guys. Look, I'm all about working smarter. And people, I actually am the anti-hustler. I own it, the antihustler.com.
You're the underwear entrepreneur, man. That's awesome.
Exactly. And you know what? It's because, look, there's nothing wrong with working hard, guys. I don't, people are like, oh, you're against working hard. I'm not against working hard. I'm against working focused. I'm against people that are doing things that aren't really, they're kicking the rocks instead of pushing the boulder. I know that's kind of cliche. But you should be, those three things you write down, they should be pushing the boulder. Like it's the same thing. I have to say, I love my wife, man, and she helps enable me so much because I don't ever want to touch a bill. I don't ever want to do, there's so many different things in my life that I don't want to do because I know it's a waste of my time.
Yep.
And for me right now, as an entrepreneur, and now that I'm really doing well and things are popping off, people want me more, and I'm more guarded of my time. So for me to have time with my family and things like that's really important to me. And I know that right now the most valuable asset that I have, and most entrepreneurs will probably agree with me, are the time that we have. And as our time becomes, more taken, it becomes more and more, because you'll find an interesting V curve of life, which is kind of like this. And it goes like this, like the more time that you have, the less valuable that it is, right? And the more people want you, the more value that your time is, but you have. And that's where, right in the crosshairs is, right when you're starting to get that, people always ask me all the time, when should I outsource? Do you have a product or service that is worth selling right now? And if I could find someone to help you, like if you could hire someone that could literally sell your product for you, and they can, for example, think of it like Facebook ads. If you hire a Facebook ads person for $5,000 and they can create you $10,000 in sales, hire 20 of them, right? Like
as long as the margin's built in. I mean, if you're an info product, that's the challenge that a lot of my clients work with, is that they have other costs associated. And so, but the cool thing, when you really break it down and you understand, okay, this lead's worth, this much gross profit to my company over the next 2 years, and you can understand that, it makes sense. Your cost of acquisition becomes very clear on, what can you pay a VA staff? What performance gauge do they need to be able to justify this expense.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's so simple, man. I love your perspective that everybody you hire is making you money, and that's the way that it should be in any business, no matter what person on that team is. If they're just a cost to you, man, drop them, because they're pulling away from your ability to execute
Bingo.
what you should do in your business, which is create freedom, joy, an environment that people can engage in and grow from. I mean, So, man, I love this. This is great information.
The thing is, and I think this might be a great place to wrap it up, because what I'm about to tell you is literally the same thing that I see everywhere that I go. And I mean everywhere. I've been invited to speak at things, and I've been invited to masterminds, and I just went and hung out with a bunch of 30s, under 30 in San Francisco last weekend. The one thing that I see that's common everywhere that I go is when I talk to somebody, they say the same thing. They say, "Hey man, how are you?" Right? They'll talk to each other. And you've probably done this yourself. And maybe some of you that have listened, you've probably heard, you've said this to someone else. And I'm setting this up because I want you to think about how your own mentality is and why you need a shift of it if this is true. If you are going to someone and asking them how they're doing, and they say, "Oh, things are really good, man, really busy." Right? And you're like, things are really busy. Okay. Yeah, man, things are just crazy. Like, I'm so busy. And one of my clients who's in the 9th Life program, he's a CPA, and he was sharing with me something very interesting. He said that in his industry, in the accounting industry, it's like a badge that people wear. They're like, I am just busy and I have no time for 9 months out of the year because of tax season and this and that. Like, that's a badge that they wear. Like, I'm just too busy for everything.
I think it's entrepreneurs in general, because I get that response all the time. And I'm like, dude, man, busy's not the goal here. Yeah. It should be.
Yeah, because, like, not to be cliche again, but like, the entrepreneurs are the only people crazy enough to work 80 hours to escape the 40-hour work week, right?
Yeah.
It makes zero sense. And what's really interesting and intriguing to me is that instead of addressing that issue, think of it like a bottleneck. You can only, people tell me I'm so busy, but I'm still not making the money that I should. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that incremental chart where it's like, the more busy you get, you're not getting more and more income, because it's starting to stagger off because you are maxed. You're completely maxed.
Yep.
And what happens is you're under systematized. You don't have enough systems in your business, and you're doing everything yourself. So you're not delegating, you don't have systems. And those two go together, because if you don't have a good system, then you can't delegate that out. That's just bottom line. And so that's what the 910 Life is. I put together a 6-week program that any entrepreneur can go through that literally shows them, step one is how to systematize your business and how to put a sales pipeline in place. Because see, once you start getting new leads and you start working different angles, and everyone, it's all about traffic, right? You get traffic from Facebook, you get traffic from Twitter, you get traffic from Google ads, you get traffic from your SEO and all these different traffic means. But then people sit on them and they're not doing stuff with them. I had a client literally ask me, "Can you please help me find a client that can use my VA for a couple months, because I have so many leads that they're 3 months stale right now and I can't get caught up." Who wants that problem? Everybody.
A lot of people listening will raise their hand for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I made a post on Facebook, and see, I don't sell, or I don't talk to my personal audience about it, but I knew that this was a really cool opportunity for somebody, and I said, "Hey, look, I've got a VA for a client. It's going to," because they want this VA back when they're done. Yeah. But basically, they've got 3 months of leads they need to follow up on, and literally, it's a waste to get new leads because they're going to be stale by the time they get to them.
Yeah.
So I had like 5 people reach out to me like, "Oh my God, can I please have, like, I need a lead generation." Guys, think about that. I just want to leave you with that one little nugget. If you could have one virtual assistant who actually cares about your business and invests themselves in you and understands and helps you find new leads, wouldn't that be worth it? Just to have a VA to track down leads so you can do what you do best, which is sales or closing a business deal or marketing. Maybe you do marketing and show up on podcasts like this, and you have time to do that stuff instead of like building funnels and finding new contacts. Focused. They're not really doing the things that are what I like to call their unique abilities, right?
That's so cool,
And
man.
like for me, my unique ability is building teams and helping other people build teams like that. I've been very successful because I know that that's what I do every day. I didn't make these guides. This isn't what I do best. My team made these guides. Why would I make these guides? Matter of fact, all the research in this virtual assistant salary guide, my VAs went out and found. They scoured the internet to find out what the rates were, And you know what? My 17 tasks every business have to outsource. I went to one of my project managers and I said, hey, what's the things that most of our clients do? And they had a list, and it was exactly 17 things. And I said, cool, I want you to take those 17 things and I want you to put it into a guide called The 17 Things That Every Business Should Outsource to a Virtual Assistant.
It's awesome, man. So
that's it. So that's the kind of stuff that people are losing opportunities on because they're not actually focused on the things that they should be focused on.
Yeah, man, I 100% agree. One of the things I start working with them very early is that there's 4 parts to your business, and only one of them you can do, and that's lead and guide your organization. And lead and guide affects every relationship in it. If it's a client, it affects that. If it's a team, it affects that. If it's a resource, man, your ability to lead and guide your organization affects that as well. And so, and the more time you can spend in that lead and guide role, the more efficient your organization is going to be. But the only way to do it is to build systems and procedures and standard processes. And if you don't do that, there's no framework for anybody to know what to do. Creates a lot of frustration, a lot of resentment. So, man, very cool stuff. So you're going to make those guides available. Does that put them into a list where they can get more information about a course?
Yeah,
the course that you mentioned.
Okay. Yeah. So, so when you download this, there will be a little link on here that tells you how to sign up for this little. I have a workshop that I put on,
cool.
And it's a cool workshop. It talks about 3 main things, but you'll see this little button down here. It says register for the virtual assistant workshop. But what's cool about it is that I teach those 3 exact principles. It's about an hour to an hour 15 for the training. It's super action packed, and basically the 3 things that I show you are, 1, how one of my 90/10 lifers was able to, and I know that this is a played out word, 10x, but she 10x'd her revenue from $6,000 a week to $75,000 a week.
That's 12x technically, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's over 10x.
Yeah.
So I go over exactly how she did that, and no surprise, guys, it was by focusing on the things that made her the most money. There's a little bit of the spoiler there. The second thing that I talk about is the cost neutral hiring, and I talk about real life circumstances, and I even include screenshots of how you can hire people to make you money sometimes from day one. If you hire someone who's really good at a really affordable price, and I'll show you guys how to do that. I want to warn you guys though, like Fiverr and Upwork and all these different things, you have to be wary about these because all you see is a name, a picture, and a rating. And that's not how you hire people. I'm going to show you how to really do it. And then the third thing that I do is my actual 246 Freedom Pathway. It's the exact training, the exact same way that I've trained all of my VAs for myself and my clients. And it's very minimal effort on our end, but it results in literally after the very first week getting 2 hours a day back from your schedule. Imagine what it would be like to get 2 hours. This is after the first week. After the first week, getting 2 hours a day back from your life permanently. So
very, very cool. Well, Jeff, thank you for your time today, man. I really enjoyed getting to know you and listening to your story, man. What an incredible resource for entrepreneurs. I look forward to growing a relationship with you and just getting to know you better, man. It's
Oh,
incredible.
my absolute pleasure. If you guys ever have any virtual assistant questions, or if you feel stuck, or if you're like, hey, Jeff, that's all well and good, but I don't even know where to start, just find me, guys. Download these guides.
Very cool stuff, man. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for telling your story, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you later, bud. Bye.
You've been listening to SharpenTheHustle.com podcast with Jesse Miller. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show, or to listen to past episodes, check out SharpenTheHustle.com.